This one here still got the plastic on because I put the nail Gada, I put the nails in through the plastic, mark the spots so they're nicely evenly placed. In my Akara, they're red. So this was copied from a jewelry that had nails in it in Ogonat, Akara and Varanasi. You have a quick look here, we'll hold that one up. You can see that I've actually there's a channel in here that I cut. It's scary, and the best thing is that the rings come off and they roll into the crowd, and the crowd just splits open out of the way, and they just watch it roll past. It's just stories that I heard about the jewelry themselves was that the motion of pulling the jewelry down over your shoulders like this comes from milking buffalo. So you'll notice that the jewelry is pushed right. Yeah, 15. Big boy weight, eh? The flowing Dutchman, yeah. Shuffle on the production. Like this, yeah. Like this, yeah. The flowing Dutchman, yeah. The flowing Dutchman.
And welcome to another video of the Flowing Dutchman. Now, as you can see, I'm in the land of the clubs with the man, Paul Taras Wolkowinski. And Paul Taras Wolkowinski, for those of you who don't know, is he's been swinging clubs for at least 10 years. And he is, well, in my mind, one of the masters of it, has really gotten deep into it, especially with the lighter ones, the Indian clubs, but also with the Gadas. And it's just amazing. I remember watching his videos about when he traveled to India and Persia for the first time, and just inspired me so much. And one of the reasons that I went to India in the first place and ended up going a lot more. So much gratitude for this man. And now I'm here in Perth, Australia, visiting him, which is amazing. And in this video I want to talk about some of the things that he has made himself that are inspired by India. So the Indian clubs are basically English clubs because they were inspired by India, but the smaller ones, those techniques, they are mainly done and founded in the West. Is that correct?
Yeah, I would say so. Although the inspiration for some of the movement comes from the inward swings and I'm sure the 10 to 2 and this one-handed 360 has been an influence on the way that the movements were done. And talking to a couple of swordsmen, the methods of striking with the sword definitely comes into play when considered within the realms of the lighter Indian clubs, like these ones up here.
Right. Yeah, I also feel that the lighter they are, the more they also become similar to stick fighting, sword fighting, and but there's a difference because there's also the more heavy style of training, and that heavy style you'll find that primarily in Varanasi. That's where I found it, like where they really go up in weight. And I see, and Paul has been to Varanasi a few times, and there's a lot of inspiration here from his trip to Varanasi. So
I first started making. I started off with a steel mace. I mean, and it was basically a big ball on a fairly long handle, 1.20 meters, so about the same length as these are. So there wasn't much difference. But on my first trip to Varanasi, I was really surprised at the load being at the very, very end and the handle being bamboo. It was just chalk and cheese really between the two.
Chalk and cheese,
yeah. No, it's the difference is there. Yeah. So I decided to start making my own, and for these four, these are basically whey containers that you take the plastic. Obviously you can go to health food shops and ask them to save them for you, which they will do, and that's how these are made. And then once the concrete is dry inside the plastic, I remove the plastic. But for some people who I've sold these to gyms, they leave the plastic on because then it won't tear the rubber floors up.
Right.
Yeah. But I don't have that problem here, and I'm basically sort of proficient at using them. So you can see this one here still got the plastic on because I put the nail Gada, I put the nails in through the plastic, mark the spots so they're nicely evenly placed, and that's what that looks like. It's difficult to paint plastic. I'll say that straight away. So if you want to paint them, and I've painted these ones in the sort of red. It's more of a red than the orange that Hanuman is associated with, but it's the colour that I like.
Yeah, well, you'll find in India that some akaras have the green colour, some have the red colour, some have the blue colour.
And they all have their own colours too, the akaras, yeah. So in my akara, they're red.
Great.
And so, and then I discovered that if you put two salad bowls together and then cut the top out of one of them, and then tape them together with PVC tape, okay, they will give you a beautiful round shape. And you can see where the hole's been cut out of here, because this concrete came out a little bit off the top. That one I smoothed off a little bit better, but did a better job. That was the first one, that was the second one I made. And then, so this is a 10, 12 and a 15, all done the same way. Yeah, so I mean that's
the bigger salad bowl.
Yeah, bigger salad bowls. These here are all salad bowls, and going to the dumbbell. That's made with salad bowls also. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. And I mean these the two salad bowl halves. You can see the seams. Yeah, pretty well here. Right. And they make and that's basically a bit of bamboo. There are nails in here, sort of crossing one another, and so these are never going to come off.
No.
As all of these. Then so obviously you have to make one end, then you have to turn it over and make the other end. Sure. With that.
It's a lot more time.
So with the jewelry, I was very nervous about making jewelry to start with. Finally, I managed to figure out how to do them, because this is actually longer than my lathe.
Oh yeah, the lathe.
The length, the bed of the lathe. Yeah. So I actually butted up my two lathes together, end to end. So I had the longer lathe to make these. Wow. And this I decided to use the sort of tubular shape simply because it was the difficulty of getting the wood, and then I came up with a solution for attaching chain to the end, because I couldn't get brass rings.
Right, yeah, those are difficult to get.
And steel, like iron rings, and they were great because they basically helped me start to swing jewelry. And then around the bottom, if you have a quick look here, we'll lift that one up, you can see that I've actually there's a channel in here that I cut. You can see that it's sort of inside there. And the first lump of chain is really tightly pulled with electrical cabling.
Right.
And then the rest of it is just one round one on the top, so that supports all of this here, so it's never going to come off, basically.
That's a good safety measure.
Yeah, yeah, no, it is. I mean, it's it clinks sometimes, but it's quite safe to swing.
I've heard you say that when you visited the jewelry competition in Varanasi, that
they come off. Yes.
The rings,
which is scary, and the best thing is that the rings come off and they roll into the crowd, and the crowd just splits open out of the way, and they just watch it roll past. It's just amazing. Right. Yeah, so basically that's my collection, and one of the things one of the methods that I used to teach myself to swing jewelry was to swing two maces together, one on each shoulder, which I still do to this day. I actually prefer that to swinging jewelry, funnily enough. It's great fun to see. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you know.
I know. I always like that the weight is further away from my hand, because it just gives more pendulum, and the jewelry just, it has.
It's a different feel. Yeah, it's a different feel. So I mean, my favorite.
If it has more of a cone shape, then you get that more. Yes. But still.
So I mean, and then basically, so this was copied from a jewelry that had nails in it in Ogonat Akara in Varanasi. And the tube, so obviously this one doesn't have nails in it, but basically jewelry are constructed so they have what's called a narrow jewelry, so it has a narrow shoulder and a wide base, so it cones out, it goes wider at the bottom. Right. And then there's a fat jewelry, which is much harder to keep on your shoulders because there's more bulk here. And because of that extra sort of diameter on your shoulder, you're having to bring your arms much more forward. And it's used in part of the elimination process, as is the traditional swinging up jewelry, to prove that you can get them up into your shoulders standing on bricks, which are very unstable, some of them sometimes. I think it's either the second or the third round is done with a fat jury, and that knocks out the contestants who can't do it. Basically, it's a very good way of actually getting rid of contestants that would actually stand there and swing for hours, because it's a difficult thing to swing. So yes, so I went and actually witnessed the whole jury competition from start to finish, which started about, I think from memory, about sort of 7 or 8 o'clock in the evening, and then went through till 2 o'clock at night.
Wow!
By the time that all the eliminations happened and the arguments that happened, and sort of it's quite an unruly sort of setup. There's lots of spectators, and they're all pushing and shoving. And it's just everybody gets very excited when the juries are being swung. It's just, and I have to say that this is a competition that only one person swings at a time. So the whole crowd, which stands around in a circle, and the contestants are on a mound of earth and sand or whatever it is that they've built it up a bit so that everybody can see them.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, and each contestant has a team, which is I thought was very interesting. So that they have this sort of encouragement, so that the coach is sort of saying, "Come on, you can do it," come on, and that sort of thing.
Yeah, right.
You've got the other guys that prepare the shoulders of the contestant with mustard oil, and they put the mustard oil onto here, and then put the mustard oil onto the jury. Then the contestant comes up to a stone and rubs the silica sticky substance that they use to glue their hands to the jury themselves. And then
it's
finally,
like chalk.
Sorry,
The Indian chalk.
It's like a chalk, yeah. It reminds me a little bit of amber, the colour of the actual, but it goes white when you crush it. Yeah. And so then basically the contestant picks up the first jury on his own and loads it onto his shoulder, and then his coach or helper comes up and lifts the other jury into the position with one hand high held underneath the bulk of the weight, and the other one on the front of the handle here. So basically, if I demonstrate it, this looks like this. The jury is lifted like this.
Yeah.
That means that when it's given to the contestant can put his hand onto the handle there, and then it's lowered onto his shoulder, and then he makes sure that his grip is okay and his hand is basically gluing or sealing into the handle before he starts swinging.
Sure. Yeah.
And then the counting, as far as the counting goes, that's done the same as the Gada. So you get 1 point for 2 swings. So it has to be left and right swing. That's counted as 1.
Yeah, if you only get 1, you won't get it.
You won't get that doesn't count. So if you do 1, 2, 3, and then on 4 you only swing 1 arm. 4 doesn't count.
Yeah, right. That's cool.
And the judges call out the count as he's so it's called out loud, without microphones or anything, so that the contestants can hear what they've done. And some of them do really well, and some of them really stagger under the weight. You can see them sort of going lower and lower because the weights are so huge. So it's a very entertaining night, that's for sure.
It is pretty uncomfortable as well.
Yeah, no, of course.
Wow. Are you able to swing a few of those, or?
Sure. No. So just one. I was just going to say one thing. I think it's important. The stories that I heard about the jury themselves was that the motion of pulling the jury down over your shoulders like this comes from milking buffalo. So it's a milking motion, and buffalo apparently are very, very hard, are tough to milk. Yeah. So that and then the Gada on the other hand is the because the Pahlawans are celibate basically, or the true Pahlawans are celibate, and the Gada is represents basically virility. So it's it's associated with virility, male virility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there, because it looks like a
basically like a penis. You might as well say it. That's basically what we're talking about. It's got a sort of penile shape, and it's not done in any form of rude way. It's not considered like unpleasant, or it's not it's not looked down upon. Either or. So the jury is milking, And because you've got to consider that around Varanasi, it's all rural around there. It's a rural country. So a lot of these guys that will do this are farmers, and they work on the earth.
Sure. I also heard that the Gada, the movement, is also similar to actually pulling someone off the
Yes,
shoulder.
I mean the Gada basically is, from a wrestling point of view, to my understanding. I'm not a wrestler, don't know much about it at all. But if you headlock somebody, you can throw them over the shoulder, and you can also arm throw them over the shoulder. So the Gada relates to that. Yeah.
That's cool. Very interesting.
Yeah. So if to swing, I might just move these. No, hang on. Well, I'll just take this one. We'll start with this one. Okay. And I just think it's important to point out that the traditional way is you touch the Gada here, you touch your forehead, and you touch the Gada there. That creates basically a oneness with the Gada. And then, from what I understand, mostly the Gada is thrown onto this shoulder here, and then your footwork is sorted out, so your feet in the correct position.
Yep.
And then you can basically swing the 10 to 2, which is the traditional swing for the Gada.
Yep.
And when they put the Gada down, they usually drop it onto the floor, which I'm not going to do here.
No.
Because it would not please some people.
Almost, Paul. It would have been fun if you had like the sand pit over here.
Yeah,
I kind of expected that when I came here,
so
but
now, I just want to talk very quickly. So you can have nail jewelry and nail Gada.
Right.
I had a very interesting explanation about this from one Palavan who told me that he preferred to swing a nail Gada rather than nail jewelry because he'd cut him. If he hit himself with the nail Gada, he would cut himself once, as opposed to cutting himself twice with nail jewelry. So I just think it's a great story. And this is basically tough love. This is, you've got to swing this correctly, or you're going to hurt yourself. I mean, that's as tough love as you can get, that one.
You want to swing it?
Oh yeah, sure, yeah. So I'll do it from the back. Okay. They go up to extraordinary weights, going up to sort of 30, 34, 35 kilos, pardon me.
How much do these weigh?
These ones, I think they're about 12 or something. They're not very heavy. I mean, they're sort of a. So basically,
it's difficult to get them very heavy because.
Here it is, for sure. So I'm just going to load this one up onto my shoulder here. Okay. I'll just go from the back, I think. Well, no. That arm's not going to go. That's the one shoulder that I fell on.
Right.
I'm going to leave that one.
Sure.
I'm not going to risk it.
No, don't do it.
No. That did not want to go.
That's alright.
What a bummer. Never mind.
I'll do it.
Okay. So let's you do it and I'll hold this. Oh no, yeah. It's best if you load one and lift the other one. Yeah, it's
always a little erratic.
It's very hard to swing them up. Yeah, that's it. Lift it up and pull it down.
Yeah, that's
okay.
There we go.
Yep. And just turn around so we can have a look at the back. Okay, brilliant. So you'll notice that the jewelry is pushed right out of the side and then swung across the back, and the spine turns and the joy is pulled back over the shoulder to the front of the body. So it goes from the front to the back and then returns.
Yeah.
Oh.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yes. Yeah, it's going to be a while before I can do those, I'm afraid.
It's going to be?
It's going to be a while before I can swing those again. Well, that's my shoulder did not feel right just now, so yeah. Pity.
It's alright.
Okay.
Amazing. They feel really good.
Yeah.
It's really good. And I'll try the Gadas as well.
Sure.
These are about the
So
same
that's
weight.
no. So that's a 7. The other one's an 8.
Yeah, no worries. Try that. I've actually seen a guru in the Muslim Akhara that I went to that
Mhm.
did it like this too.
Yeah. I think that's a great exercise. I really do.
Yeah, it feels more heavy as well, even though the weight is less.
Yeah,
It does.
because it's falling a lot further. So I mean, the
Yeah.
weight's increasing more as it falls.
Yeah, and the moment it touches the shoulder, there's not much weight on the shoulder. The
Yeah.
weight, you still have to pull all the weight
Yes.
from the back.
Yeah.
Well, with the jori, it's already halfway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that feels good.
Just come forward a little bit more. No.
Yes.
Nice.
That's amazing. Let's try the big boy first.
15. Yeah.
15. 15, eh?
Yeah. 15.
Big boy weight, eh?
Whoa. Nice.
There we go.
Very good. Now I've got a question for you.
Sure.
So when you swing the Gada, when do you breathe in and when do you breathe out? Because I've done it in 2 ways and I still can't decide which one's the correct one.
So, I wasn't really focusing on my breathing right now, but usually so what you the technique when you do weightlifting, for example,
Mm-hmm.
is whenever you do the effort, or at least whenever you're when you're contracting,
Yes.
that's the moment that you breathe out.
Mm-hmm.
You're opening up, that's the moment when you breathe in. Usually that's connected to the moment you put effort into it. So for
Yeah.
example, if you do a pull up, you go up.
Yeah. So I find that I breathe in when I push it up from the front.
Wait a second, no, breathe out as you.
Yeah, I've done it both ways. So, but what I find interesting is that because the swing, the arc that you swing is longer, it's actually you get better airflow breathing out when it swings and breathing in like that when you
So-
push up.
for me, the strength point, the effort point is when it hits the center of the body. So that is where everybody's turning, body is turning, hip comes forward, shoulders come in. You start to activate the triceps, so that would be probably the best moment for me to breathe out. So around here.
Yeah. So you breathe in at the front.
Yeah, because you're also expanding. So.
Yes, correct. That's right.
That would make the most sense.
Yeah. Okay. That was interesting finish to that little episode.
Thank you, Paul.
That was a pleasure. Thank you for coming to see me. I really enjoyed your visit. That was great. Excellent. So hopefully we'll meet up again in the future sometime. Maybe I'll come over to Holland.
You're more than welcome. Boom. So you can flow with a light mace. But what can you do with a heavy, longer Gada mace? Gada Mace 101 is designed to teach you the absolute fundamentals of swinging a Gada or a heavy mace. You'll learn how to use a unique tempo system, which will add a new dimension to your training. Are you ready to set your foundation right for the Gada Mace? Join now, DutchFlowAcademy.com. Boom! Thank you for your attention. It's greatly appreciated. If you like the content, please consider to share, like, and subscribe to my channel. If you want to see similar videos, you can see them over here. If you're interested in learning more from me as a coach, I've got online courses on DutchFlowAcademy.com. Keep flowing. Ram Ram.